In watchmaking art, we connect to eternity. We are the artisans of giving birth to a product with a soul, with a product with love. Machine cannot transfer a soul. It can transfer productivity, it can transfer profit. The soul can only be given by fingers. Don't look what time it is on your watch. Use your phone. Your watch tells you much more. If the watch tells you time, what a shame. How poor it is. So look at your watch. Don't look at what time it is. I see this new movement going on from the young people. And if I don't learn from them, if I don't listen to them, then I will not understand them. And then I will be old. And I refuse to be old. Not in my head and never in my heart. We must become conscious that we live in an ecosystem where everything is interconnected. If you don't respect flowers, if you don't respect animals, that is like if you wouldn't respect yourself. A shame if you don't respect yourself. Never forget, we are all one.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is
Jean-Claude Biver is the man credited with single-handedly saving the Swiss watch industry. And although he's 70 years old, he seems like a young kid talking about innovation and marketing and captures the consumer's attention. But little did I know that I actually started my relationship with Jean-Claude back in 2006 when I was a banker and bought my very first Hublot watch. And I don't know what it was, but something about this spoke to me. It had rubber mixed with rose gold, mixed with ceramic, and it just had an amazing attitude. And this was all Jean-Claude's thinking. He completely revolutionized this company, its attitude, and created a global brand. I love hanging out with Jean-Claude. He's so much fun. Not only does he make watches, he's a great businessman, he also makes his own cheese. I've tasted his cheese, it's incredible. And you can learn a lot from this man when it comes to life, when it comes to business, marketing, and everything. So sit back and enjoy this incredible episode. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Jean-Claude Biver, the luxury watchmaker, lecturer, businessman, and cheesemaker. Across your 40-year career, you have led some of the world's leading watch brands, including Omega, Hublot, and Tag Heuer, with many describing you as the man who single-handedly saved the watch industry. You are currently serving as a non-executive chairman of the LVMH watch division, responsible for Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior, and now spend your time sharing your wisdom and experience through lectures and interviews in an attempt to inspire future generations of innovators. Jean-Claude, welcome to London Real.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Great having you here. What is your impression when you take that plane into London? What does London bring back for you? How does it make you feel? What are the memories you get when you visit this city?
London is the queen. Because I think it's one of the best promoter of this country. I love the queen. I respect the queen. What she is doing is incredible. At her age, she's so much devoted. And I think the Queen is important for English people because it brings people together. You have one person that brings everybody together. So it means the Queen. It means also Big Ben. Big Ben is eternity. Who is eternal in Big Ben? The watch. Can you imagine that for 150 years this watch has worked non-stop, 24 hours a day, every second of the day? No service, no maintenance, and it works and works and works and works. That a building can stay long, like the Acropolis in Athens, I understand. But a product that is a mechanical product that works, that can work 150 years non-stop, that's enormous. This is why I say, in my job, watchmaking art, we connect to eternity. How many products can you buy that connects you to eternity? None. Every product you buy connects you to obsolescence. You know that one day you will have to throw it away, because technology goes into the future by destroying the past. It makes the past obsolete. The black and white TV has been killed thanks to the 4-color TV. The 4-color TV will be killed thanks to the 3D 4-color TV. So you see, technology goes into the future and always destroys what was in the past. The watchmaking art and art goes in the future by connecting the past to the future, not destroying it. The Beatles are still singing every day. Millions of people are listening to All You Need Is Love, for instance. Mozart is alive. Picasso is alive. And that is what attracts me so much to my job, is to say, I connect through my job, I connect people to the future, to eternity. Not only do we connect people, thanks to their watch, to eternity, we also give a soul to our products. How many products have a soul? The soul can only be given by fingers. A machine cannot transfer a soul. It can transfer perfection. It can transfer productivity. It can transfer profit. But it cannot transfer soul. And what do we need today? We are in a century where we need love. But what is love? Love is God. As long as I listen to the religions who say God is love. If God is something different than love, I don't know. I've never heard about a religion where love is something different than love. So God is love. But what else? Art is also love. Passion is love. So you see, when you have a product, when you are at the head of a company where people with their hands, with their fingers, are putting love, their passion, their love into a movement, and then they close it with the watch case, and then all these vibrations of love are in the box, and they come out. That is why in the middle of the last century, around the 50s, in the Catholic French well-established society, there was a tradition to offer a watch when you get married. My father gave me the watch. My mother, his wife, gave him in 1947 when they got engaged. And before he died, he gave me this watch. And he said, this is the watch that your mother gave me when we got engaged. I took the watch, you know, I said, thank you, Papa, let me see. I took the watch and mechanically I winded up the crown. And I said, wow, it's working. As they said to me, of course it's working. It has worked non-stop since 1947. That is what attracts me in my job, because I am not just in a company making money, marketing, sales, but I'm also in a company where we can say, wow, we are proud. We are the artisans of giving birth to a product with a soul, with a product with love. And I say to my people, I don't know, I write about 2,000 letters per year to people who have bought my watch. When they contact me, like today, I was in the car, and the German guy said, I just acquired your watch. And I said, listen, bravo, thank you very much. Send me the number of the watch, of the case number, and I will send you my private, personal, extended guarantee. And for the moment, I wish you a lot of success and a lot of happiness while wearing your watch. Because I believe that the watch can bring you something. Because the love that is inside cannot disappear. And the love that is inside the watch, the love, which means the people who have done it with love, with passion, passion is love, it is there. And you must just believe it. And you must learn to believe it. And you must learn to talk to your watch. That's why I say to people, don't look what time it is on your watch. Use your phone. And then you see what time it is. But not your watch. Your watch tells you much more. If the watch tells you time, what a shame. How poor it is. It tells you much more. So look at your watch. Don't look at what time it is. And that gives me a level of satisfaction in my job that is so big that I say, and I said it this morning, God damn, I must start something again. I cannot just retire and give lessons to Harvard Business School or London Business School, or just train young people, or just give back. I want to have this feeling again that I make a product and that this product one day is worn and it brings something to the one who wears it. That is, I think, the artist. I'm not an artist, but art is the same. When I buy a picture from an artist and I put it in my home, it brings me, it talks to me. And the artist has this incredible satisfaction that he transfers his passion, other bracket, his love, to somebody else. And this somebody else will get and enrich himself by the love he gets, which is on his wall.
But the watch is something very peculiar, because you're saying it's not a machine, it's not a piece of art, it's a connection to eternity.
Yes, but it's also a piece of art. It's a piece of art because, and we say, watchmaking art. You have the watchmaking industry, which is a big part, all these watches that retail for $50, $100, whatever. It's not an art, it's an industry. And then you have the watchmaking art. These are the people who produce, maybe Hublot makes 60,000, 58,000 pieces. You have other brands that make 100 watches, and you have some brands that make maybe 100,000, but very small. And here you are definitely talking about art. It is an art. That's why we say watchmaker master or watchmaking art. So you have clearly both.
Can I tell you about my watch? So for 40 years of my life, I'm from America, San Diego, where we don't have any timepieces that I remember. I don't remember us having any traditions or let alone any fashion or style. So for 40 years of my life, I had maybe a digital watch. But when I got to London, I was working in the banking industry. And if you're in the banking industry as a man, you can't wear jewelry, So the only thing you have that can really set yourself out from the other men in the room to project power is your watch.
Yes, yes.
And so a lot of guys get into their watches and they invest in watches. For me, I was looking at the music industry, and one of my favorite musicians was 50 Cent, a hip hop artist. And he had a big watch with diamonds on it on one of his books. And so I loved his music. And I walked down Old Bond Street and I went to all the watchmakers and said, I want this watch. Now, Jean-Claude, you gotta forgive me because it was a Jacob watch, which was an electronic watch with diamonds all over it, very bling. The American rappers liked it. And everyone said, no, you don't want a Jacob watch. Go to Harrods. We don't sell that. We only sell timepieces. Mm-hmm. And so I went to a place called Marcus on Old Bond Street, which I don't think is there anymore. But at the time, the only ones who sold Hublots were Marcus and maybe Harrods, before Hublot had a store in London, and you know, because you ran this company. And they showed me the Hublot, and I said, it's got a rubber strap, it's rose golds, only old men wear gold watches. But the more I looked at it, I started understanding it's mechanical, it's got this beautiful thing on the pass, and self-winds, and there's no batteries. And I bought my very first watch ever. And this is in 2006 or 2007, probably right when you were taking over, before Hublot became everywhere. Yeah. Before they were sponsoring Formula One.
Yes.
And this was, I think, one of the first ones that maybe you were responsible for. Is this the Big Bang?
Yeah, of course. That's the Big Bang. That's my first innovation. That's how we brought Hublot back to the front of the scene of the Swiss watchmaking art. The Big Bang is that's what we did. That's how we started, with the Big Bang. And I called it Big Bang.
Why did you call it Big Bang? And what was the innovation that goes behind a timepiece that's also based on hundreds of years of tradition? I mean, this is, people think of Switzerland and timepieces and they don't think of innovation. And yet this was massively innovative.
Extremely innovative.
And must have been difficult to do.
Yes, and not easy. And you know, you see how the life is strange. San Diego reminds me of Dennis Conner. Dennis Conner, he won the America's Cup.
Yes.
Very famous salesman, sailor.
Sailor, yeah.
He won several times. I went to San Diego because I know him well. I slept in his home, and I met him several times. And you know what? He doesn't wear a watch. As a sailor, the start is very important. You must start at the right, you cannot start 1 minute after the other boat. And I said to him, Dennis, you don't wear a watch? He said, no. I have my people who tell me 30 seconds, 20 seconds, but I don't have a watch. I am concentrated on sailing and I don't wear a watch. He's probably the only sailor that has no watch. Then you talk about Marcus. Marcus is my friend.
Okay.
I've known Marcus not recently, but not so long a time ago. But I met Marcus for the first time in 1981. And since 1981, we are friends. We go together for holidays. I mean, we are friends. We are friends. And of course, he was the first one to introduce my Big Bang in London. Wow. He was also one of the first one to introduce my brand anyhow in the world, because in the beginning we didn't have many customers. Now, why do we name it Big Bang? The concept of Hublot, the message of the brand. Every brand must have a message. Why do I make watches? Why? What's the reason? The reason why Hublot makes watches is that they bring together the past and the future. The past is there, the future is here. You can, in theory, not bring them together. And we say yes, because here we call it tradition, past, and here innovation, future. And the innovation and the past, you can meet, and we connect them, which means gold, 18 karat red gold. We bring it together with an extraordinary modern material, ceramic, or rubber, or carbon. That's what we call the fusion. We fuse the past, this tradition, we bring it with the future, which innovation, we bring those two together. So our message is Hublot means the art of fusion in the watchmaking art. Okay. Now, why the name Big Bang? Because when did we see for the first time gold and rubber together? When? In the Big Bang. Because they were all together. And then the Big Bang comes, bam! And gold says, oh, I will go to South Africa under the earth. And rubber says, oh, no, no, I prefer the tree. I go to Malaysia and I go on the tree. And then they separated and never again would they meet. And we come and we say, hey, gold, rubber, you know what? We are the art of fusion. We're going to bring you both together again. So we will go into the mine of South Africa. We bring gold. We go to the tree and we bring rubber. And he said, okay, you rubber and you gold. Come on, now we're going to fuse you together. And therefore I said, we have only one name for the watch. It's Big Bang. Because it explains who we are, what we are. And everybody, we had a list of 100 names or 85 names, blah, 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 blah. I said, no, come on, guys. I call it Big Bang. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I said, of course it means. It means what we are doing. So that's why the name.
Did everyone think you were crazy?
Yes, as long as people think you are crazy, as long as they are jealous, as long as they envy you, you are right, you are doing the right thing. How can you measure? You can only measure through people who say you are crazy, people who say you are stupid, people who are jealous, that shows you are right. So when people criticize us, I say to my people, come on guys, this is a compliment. That's how you read how good you are.
But you're going to compete in a watch industry where everything is so traditional.
Yes.
And you're now saying, I'm going to stick rose gold with a rubber strap. You're asking people to pay 15,000, 20,000 pounds, and you're giving me a rubber strap.
Yes.
They must look at you like you're crazy. The competition must say, this is a joke. We'll never have to worry about Hublot.
I hope, as long as they say that, you are successful. If they say you are great, your success is gone. They will never make, competition normally doesn't make compliments on others. They say, blah, blah. They always find something bad to say. Now, rubber, just between you and me. What is better, crocodile that you have killed, or calf that you have killed, or pork skin that you have killed? Or is it better rubber that you have taken from the Evea, from the tree? I think rubber is better. Number two, rubber is anti-allergic because that's natural rubber. The natural rubber is anti-allergic. Some people are allergic against leather. So it's anti-allergic. Number three, can you go into water with a crocodile bracelet? No, the crocodile is in the water, but not the bracelet, not the skin. So it's not waterproof. We are waterproof. Number four, what is the resistance of a leather? Look at your leather shoes. If you go with dancing leather shoes in the mountains, you will see how bad the shoe will look after you have walked 15 miles in the mountains. So rubber is more resistant, more solid. It lasts for years and years. It is water resistant. It has no allergy, and it is, from a biological point of view, much more natural than killing a bird, killing a calf just to have your bracelet. So rubber is the perfect solution.
But was never used before.
It was never used
in luxury watches.
Because luxury the people who are managing luxury tend to believe that luxury belongs to the past. No, luxury has some rules from the past, from which we call tradition. But if you repeat tradition, where is your creativity? You are a repeater. And okay, I'm not against museum. The museum tells us how the past was. But it's not because I understand how the past was in the past that I should do today the same. Because everything has an evolution, even luxury. And if you look at certain luxury hotels, they all look finally boring because they look the same. So luxury has to change. I was in an hotel in Berlin where in the restaurant, the smallest table was for 16 people. And that's just great because it brings you together with others. It's like a communion, and it brings a totally other atmosphere than if everybody is sitting on a table with two and don't dare to speak too loud. So luxury is also changing. And these changes of luxury are going to accelerate in the 21st century because the 21st century has not yet started. We are in the 20th century. Then people say, we're in the 20th century, Mr. Biver. We are in 2019. This is the 21st. I said, mathematically, it is the 21st century. Yes, sir. 2019 should and belongs from the mathematic to the 21st century. But we are not in the 21st century. And I tell you now why.
Why?
Because on the 31st of December 1999, there was a celebration, 21st century bottles, special bottles from champagne and this and this and this. Everybody said, "Wow, welcome to the 21st century!" Rah, 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 rah. And then they woke up, 1st of January 2000. And what did they change in their behavior? Nothing. Same policy, same philosophy, same political problems, same imperialism, same colonialism. Nothing has changed because the same people just woke up. In another day, the date had changed, but not the people, not the mentality, not the philosophy, not the concepts, nothing, just the date. Now, when will the century change? When the millenniums born in this century will shape the future of the century. And they will start to shape it in 2030, 2035, when they will be 30 years old, 35 years old, or 40 years old. Which means then we will feel the wind of the new century, because it will have the wind of the future and not the copy of the past. Even myself, I had to shake my head and say, come on, Biver, don't repeat now the 20th century. I must invent, I must see where is the century going. That's why I had...
Is that what this was?
Yes,
this was doing
that is typically. And I had an advisory board of millenniums. They were 16 years old.
16?
Average age, yes. Average age, somewhere 14, some other 18. And they taught me 8 years ago who was ASAP Rocky, who was 50 Cent, who was Cara Delevingne. I didn't know. They taught me where do you buy jeans that cost 3,000 pounds, the pair of jeans. All this I learned through the millenniums. And when you don't learn from the people who will shape the future, then you become old. Not old in the passport, nobody cares, but old here. And eventually old here. And then you can say, wow, I am old. But who can say he's old when on the passport it's written that he's born in 1940, but the guy is young in the head and young in the heart? That tells you who you are. But how can I learn the future when I'm not a member of it? Myself in the 70s and 80s, I was member of the future because I came out of the hippie movement. I was a hippie, and we were doing the future by ourselves. My parents, they were looking, and they said, I don't understand these kids. Look the Rolling Stones, how they are dressed. Look look their hairs and blah, 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 blah. They couldn't understand. But we were in it. We understood it. Today, the same factor happens to me. I am like the parents. I see this new movement going on from the young people. And if I don't learn from them, if I don't listen to them, then I will not understand them. And I will start to criticize, you look, blah, blah, blah. And then I will be old. And I refuse to be old. I accept my age in the passport, but not in my head. Not in my head and never in my heart.
Oh, Jean-Claude, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. You always say you must be first, be different, and be unique.
Yes.
And if you can be those three things, you say you get unlimited budget because you're always going to win.
Yes, you're always going to win. Because you cannot be a dead fish swimming in the river. Now you have a river here in London. You can, I don't know if you can see the fishes, if it's sufficient transparent. But
No.
Confucius, he had a river that was very transparent. And he said, only the dead fish swims with the current, in the speed of the current, and in the direction of the current. The fish that is alive goes left, right of the current, against the current, or with the current 3 times faster. So this is what we learned when we were hippies, because we were reading Confucius. And I said, wow, do I want to be a dead fish? No. How can I be alive? Yes, I will be alive if I am different. If I go with the current, I'm dead. So I will go against the current, or right or left of the current, or 3 times faster. But in order to do that, you must be first, or you must be different, or you must be unique. And so if you are first, different, unique, you have a winning. You are winning. You cannot lose. It's like if I play poker with 4 aces. I cannot lose. I can play everything. I can say, I can cry, my hand. But at the end, you're going to win. Same, first, different, unique, you will win. You can only lose if you are first, different, and unique, but it's not coherent with your message. If I make a watch, Hublot watch, that I retail for 5 Swiss francs, that is in wood, and I produce 1 million pieces for $5, I will be first, I will be different, I will be unique, but I will be an asshole. Because it's not coherent with the message of the brand.
Right.
So, first, different, unique. I always say to the students, that's what you have to go for. And that will bring you success. But it must be coherent with what you're looking for. So that is one of my basic rules in life. And again, I got it in the late 60s, because we were reading Confucius, and sometimes I couldn't understand what the guy was telling us. But at least the dead fish is something I have never forgotten. I even see, because I was quite often along the rivers, and you really see that the dead fish goes absolutely with the current, in the direction of the current, and in the speed of the current.
But you're in a traditional industry like Swiss watches, and you're bringing in all of these radical ideas. I mean, that must be very difficult for someone to do. I mean, besides Hublot, I don't know of any brand that made such a massive change and was such a massive success in an industry that's probably built on slow growth,
Yes.
being around. I mean, Swiss watch brands are around for hundreds of years,
Yes.
right?
Yes, but you are right. But it's changing now, because the new generation, I give you a very good example. Rubber doesn't mean luxury. A sports watch doesn't mean luxury, because sport is not necessarily luxury. Rubber is not necessarily luxury. Now, when we went to China in 2012 with our Hublot watches, with all the success that Marcus had in Bond Street, with you wearing it, with, Jay-Z wearing the watch, 50 cents buying one from me in 2011 or 2010. We went to China, and in China we sold nothing, zero, not even one watch. Why? Because for the Chinese, rubber is rubbish. Because for the Chinese, a sports watch, sport is not luxury, sport is popular. Because of those elements, we sold nothing. My son Loic, who was the boss of China, he said to me, "Don't worry, one day we will sell." I said, "Yes, one day, but hey, we are spending money like crazy. We are sponsoring different people here. We need some return." He said, "The return will come. Just wait for the millenniums." I said, "Where? The millenniums? Which millenniums?" In 2011, it was 2012. I said, "The millenniums are 12 years old. Do you think I can wait 10 years? Okay, then we close the subsidiary and I come back in 10 years. He said, no. But the boys and girls that are born in 1980, one day they will buy your brand. I said, "Why?" Because you must understand the Chinese mentality. These young people, when they are becoming millionaires or billionaires or whatever, or the day they make money, they will refuse to buy the product of their parents. And their parents are buying this traditional luxury. Ultra slim, and in platinum and blah, 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 very classical. They are buying this. Do you think the young generation will want the watch of Papa? No. They will come to you because you are the alternative. And you know what happened? In 2018, our biggest customer in the world was the Chinese. It's our #1 market. When in 2012, they didn't buy a single watch because it was these traditional Chinese people and they couldn't understand that luxury can be red gold and rubber, can be red gold and carbon. They were on their ideas of the past. And the young generation, they are on the ideas of their own generation, of the future. And so today, our biggest market is China.
Wow.
That's incredible. From zero in 2012 to the biggest market in 2018.
And that's psychology and marketing and understanding.
Understanding.
Yeah. Understanding. Yeah.
It's more than, it's a little bit marketing, but most is understanding.
Understanding.
Understanding the psychology. And catching the new generation, speaking to the new generation. It's not enough to understand, you must also have the response to have the product for these young people. And these young people, they just got it.
Talk to me about that understanding and that branding, because with Omega, when you were with Omega, one of the big, strong moves you made was to put Omega watches in the James Bond films. This is before products were being put in films.
Yes.
This is way ahead of the curve.
Yes.
Why do that? How even think about something like that? How to execute it, and what was the response?
A young Madame Barbazini, a young woman, a young lady, having worked at Philip Morris in the Formula One circuit, on the circuit, for Philip Morris, for Marlboro in those days.
Yeah.
She came to me, because we had employed her. She came to me and said, "We should go into the new film, James Bond." I said, "What do you mean?" "Yeah, the brother Broccoli have stopped to fight, and now Eon Production and Universal Studios are planning a new film. And we could be in this new film." I said, "But James Bond, that's for old people, it's for me. It's Ursula Andress coming out of the sea with the nice white bikini and the white sand and blue sea and blue sky. And Sean Connery, that's for my generation. I want Omega to connect to the new generation." And she said, "But it will connect, it will be successful amongst the new generation." I said, "I don't believe you." And stop. End of the story. She comes back, thanks God. I was so lucky. She comes back a second time and says the same, with more details. There will be a new actor, he's great, Pierce Brosnan, blah, blah, blah. I said, Madame Barbazzini, I told you already, I'm not interested. I'm looking to connect to young people, not a remake of an old film. And anyhow, you will never be able to beat Sean Connery. He was the best actor ever for James Bond, and Ursula Andress was the most sexy one. End of the story. And now she comes back a third time. My driving time to go to my office at Omega was 1 hour and 40 minutes one way, and 1 hour and 40 minutes the second way, back home. So after the third time, she came, and after the third time, I said no. I drove home, and I said to myself, listen, Biver, you are now more than 40 years old. Maybe you should listen to her, because maybe you don't understand anymore where the future is. Till today, you were part of the future, so you knew exactly where the future was going. You were sitting in the front of the future. Now, you are out of the train. You are no more sitting in the future. So maybe you have to learn. At that moment, 1993, I was 44 years old. I said, Biver son, now time has come to learn, because you don't know anymore. On a natural way, you don't know. I came back the next day, I asked her to come, and I said, listen, I want to learn from you. Why? And so much. So she explained everything, and she said, I can make an appointment with Eon Productions and Universal Studios in LA. I said, perfect. And I went to LA. I flew to LA and I met the people. And the people told me, listen, you have the possibility to put on the wrist of the 007, Mr. Pierce Brosnan, put on the wrist an Omega watch, and it will cost you so much. $50,000, $60,000, I don't remember.
That's all?
It was not so expensive, no, that's all, in those days, 94, 95. So I said, wow, great, but you know what? I would like to pay 1 million. And they looked at me and said, what do you mean? And I told them, I have made the theory at Omega that 1 + 1 must never make 2. Except in finance. 1 and 1 must always make 3. And you ask me 1, 60 or 50,000 or 9, I don't remember, it was a very small. You ask me, I say now something, you ask me 60,000. I want to give 1 million, and then I want not 1,060,000, I want 2 million. Then I have 1 and 1 is 3. And they said, oh, listen, such a theory we never heard. But yeah, I see what you say. Okay, you give us 1 more million. Okay, then we can give you 30-second film, no, 15-second film, 30-second film, 40-second film made of the rushes of the original picture. And we assemble this, and it will look like the real film. I said, wow, fantastic. We will give you the right to promote this film on different TV channels 6 months before the film comes out to the public. Wow, I said, fantastic. We will give you the picture of Pierce Brosnan dressed James Bond in tuxedo, being in the casino and saying, my name is Bond, James Bond, bam, with the eyes, choo, choo. You get this picture. You can use this picture 6 months before the film starts in the country, etc., etc., etc. We got so much, and we got, with all this money, all what we got, we were able to activate our involvement and to say more or less to people, listen, if you go to the next James Bond that will come out in 6 months, look at the watch. That's probably the watch you should buy for your husband. Or that's the watch, young man, you should wear. So when the film came out, everybody looked at the watch because we had prepared 6 months before. Wait till the film comes out. You will see the watch, you will see the watch. So the activation, thanks to this million that we added, gave us, I don't know, 10, 15 million at the end. It was the biggest success. We connected James Bond with an Omega Seamaster, and we were selling nicely 6, 7, 8, or 10,000 pieces per year. A $3,000 watch. 1 year after the film, we were selling 50,000. So the result was just magic. And what's the why? What lesson can I learn? Number one, you must listen to people, whoever the people are. Number two, it's not enough to listen, you must also learn. Because if you listen and you don't learn, it's like you go to school and you don't. So listening is not enough. You must also learning, taking the consequences from what you have listened. And number three, you must be different. You cannot just put the watch on the wrist and say, I hope consumer will see it. Come on. You cannot be passive. Hey. 1 and 1 must make 3. Okay, so you add something and you activate it. Boom, easy. And the result was just glorious, phenomenal.
That's a great lesson.
That's a great lesson.
That's a great lesson.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.